Most people think life changes when something big happens. A new job. A breakthrough. A sudden wave of motivation. But that's not how real transformation works. Pause, the truth is quieter than that. It's hidden in the small things you do when nobody is watching. The habits no one claps for. The decisions that don't feel important in the moment. And yet, those are the exact things shaping your future right now. Pause, look closely at people who always finish what they start. They're not louder. They're not more talented. They're not even more motivated. What they have is something far more powerful. They've mastered quiet habits. The kind that slowly, almost invisibly, rewire how they think, act, and show up every single day. Pause, and if you've ever wondered why you start strong but fade out, why you promise yourself change but end up repeating the same cycle, this is where everything begins to shift. Because once you understand these quiet habits, you stop relying on motivation and start becoming someone who finishes. If you're watching this and you know deep down you've been stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping, this is your moment. Pause, because the difference between staying where you are and finally changing your life often comes down to one decision, whether you choose to commit or scroll past. Subscribe now, not later. Not when you're ready. Because if you don't make a move today, you already know what happens next. Another week passes. Another goal abandoned. Another version of you left unfinished. You've probably told yourself this before. This time will be different. You start something new. A routine. A goal. A plan. And in the beginning, it feels good. You're motivated. Focused. Certain. But then something happens. The energy fades. Life gets in the way. And slowly, almost without noticing, you stop. Pause, and the worst part isn't just quitting. It's what quitting does to your identity. Every unfinished goal becomes evidence. Evidence that you don't follow through. Evidence that you can't trust yourself. Evidence that maybe, you're just not that person. Pause, but here's the truth most people never realize. It's not that you lack discipline. It's not that you're lazy. It's that you've been trying to change your life in a way your brain resists. Loud goals. Extreme effort. All or nothing thinking. That's why it never sticks. Pause, in this video, you're going to discover a completely different approach. 10 quiet habits that don't rely on motivation. Habits that work with your psychology, not against it. And once you understand them, finishing what you start stops feeling impossible, and starts becoming automatic. The first thing you need to understand is this. Your brain does not care about your big goals. It cares about efficiency. It wants to conserve energy. That's why it resists anything that feels overwhelming. When you try to make drastic changes, your brain pushes back. But when you make small, almost effortless changes, it accepts them. Pause, this is the power of micro-consistency. Instead of trying to do everything, you do something small. Something repeatable. Something so easy you can't say no. Over time, those small actions compound. They build momentum. And momentum is what creates discipline. The second habit is habit stacking. Your brain already runs on patterns. You wake up, brush your teeth, check your phone. These are automatic loops. When you attach a new habit to an existing one, you don't need extra motivation. You simply extend the loop. After you brush your teeth, you write one sentence in a journal. After you eat, you take a short walk. Small connections like this turn effort into routine. Third is environment design. Most people rely on willpower. But willpower is unreliable. Your environment, on the other hand, shapes your behavior without effort. If your phone is next to you, you'll check it. If your book is visible, you're more likely to read. Quiet habits thrive when friction is removed. Make good actions easy and bad actions harder. Fourth is identity. This is where real change happens. If you see yourself as someone who tries, you'll keep quitting. But when you start saying, "I am someone who finishes," your behavior begins to align with that belief. Every small action becomes proof. And that proof rewires how you see yourself. Fifth is private reflection. Most people never pause to process their day. But when you take even a minute to reflect, you close mental loops. You train your brain to notice progress. And that builds confidence. Sixth is single-task focus. Your brain is overwhelmed by constant stimulation. Quiet habits reduce that noise. When you give full attention to one thing, you enter a state of clarity. And clarity makes action easier. Seventh is rest. Not distraction. Real rest. Moments where your mind can breathe. This is where your brain processes, resets, and creates. Without it, you burn out. Eighth is delayed gratification. Every time you choose long-term benefit over short-term comfort, you strengthen control. It's like training a muscle. And over time, that control spreads into every area of your life. Ninth is invisible accountability. When you track progress privately, you remove pressure. You focus on consistency, not validation. And that keeps your motivation internal. 10th is weekly review. A simple check-in. What worked? What didn't? What to adjust? This turns your habits into a system. And systems are what finishers rely on. Now pause for a second and think about this. Pause. How many things have you started and never finished? How many times have you told yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," knowing deep down tomorrow looks exactly like today? And more importantly, what would your life look like if you actually followed through on the things you begin? Take a moment. Answer that honestly in the comments. Because awareness is where change begins. Here's where the real difference shows up. A finisher doesn't rely on feeling ready. They don't wait for motivation. They don't make dramatic announcements or chase perfect timing. Instead, they operate quietly. Consistently. Almost invisibly. Pause. While others are chasing big changes, they're repeating small actions. While others are burning out, they're building momentum. And over time, that creates a gap. A massive gap. The person who quits focuses on intensity. They want fast results. Immediate change. And when that doesn't happen, they lose interest. But the finisher focuses on consistency. They understand that small actions, repeated daily, always win. Pause. The person who quits depends on motivation. The finisher builds systems. The person who quits looks for external validation. The finisher tracks progress privately. And most importantly, the person who quits sees failure as proof they can't do it. The finisher sees it as feedback. Something to adjust, not something to avoid. Pause. Over time, this mindset becomes identity. And identity becomes behavior. So the question is not whether you can become a finisher. You can. The question is whether you're willing to shift from loud, temporary effort to quiet, consistent action. Here's how you start. Step 1. Choose one habit. Not 10. Not 5. 1. Make it small. So small it feels almost pointless. That's how you bypass resistance. Step 2. Attach it to something you already do. Create a trigger. Step 3. Remove friction. Make the habit easy to access and hard to avoid. Step 4. Track it privately. A simple checkmark is enough. You're building consistency, not chasing perfection. Step 5. Reflect daily. 1 minute. What did you do right? What can improve? Step 6. Protect your environment. Reduce distractions. Make focus easier. Step 7. Practice delayed gratification. Choose long-term over short-term, even in small ways. Step 8. Schedule rest. Not as a reward, but as a necessity. Step 9. Do a weekly review. Adjust, refine, continue. And Step 10. Repeat. Not perfectly. Consistently. That's the difference. Pause. Because in the end, the people who finish what they start are not special. They've just learned something most people ignore. Real change is quiet. It doesn't look impressive at first. It doesn't feel exciting every day. But it works. Pause, and once it starts working, everything changes. Your confidence. Your discipline. Your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. And that shift is what builds a life most people never reach. Thank you for staying with this all the way through. If this gave you clarity, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Don't wait. Watch the next video, Why You Procrastinate Even When You Care. It will connect everything you just learned.